बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वसल्लल्लाहु अला नबीयिल करीम रब्बिश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़्दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली। The title for the present talk is Social Ethics. That is, how to manage the social affairs, social problems. So it is social ethics. Yesterday I received an email from South Africa. It was from a Muslim youth. He says that I was educated in a madrasa, Arabic madrasa. Then I learned English, and now I know both the languages, Arabic and English. Also, I have studied a lot, but I am not successful in my life. Although I am married, I have 2 children, but I don't feel that I am successful in life. I feel myself a person that failed in life. Then he states some of his problem. He says in his email that after studying, I felt that our masjid and madrasa is not going on right path. Our clergy, our Muslim ulama, these masjid and these madrasas are under control of ulama, that is Muslim scholars or clergy. But they are running these institutions in a bad manner, according to this gentleman. So I criticized, and then they became angry. I became unwanted in madrasa and masjid both. I am not allowed to deliver khutbah in masjid. Also, I am not allowed to have a job in madrasa. So I am very perturbed. Now I want to seek your guidance, what to do. I have sent a letter to this gentleman. I said that the problem lies in you and not in the ulama. Why? Because this gentleman, according to my assessment, is an idealist person. His studies, after his studies, he became ideal. Now he wants to translate those ideals in practical life, in social life, in institutions. But it is not possible. Simply, it is not possible. As an individual, you can live according to your own ideals. But as far as the society is concerned, the social institutions are concerned, you cannot apply your ideals on these institutions or in your society. You have to be realist. In your mind, it is good to be idealist in your mind. It is good to be an idealist in your mind. But as far as the practical life is concerned, you cannot afford to live according to your own ideals. You have to be practical. You have to be pragmatic. You have to adjust with others. This formula is not cowardice. It is formula based on reason. Also, it is based on Islamic teachings. The Prophet of Islam was an ideal person. It is well known. But at the same time, he was a practical person. There is a well-known saying that politics is the art of the possible. Politics is the art of the possible. I would like to say that this formula is not only for politics. In general sense, it is for whole life. So I would like to say that life is the art of the possible, not only politics, but whole life. Because when you are born in this world, you are born in a society, in a family, in a nation. You cannot afford to live in an isolation in some island. It is not possible for you. Man is a social animal. Man needs a society. Man needs social institutions. Man needs other peoples to complete his plans. So everyone was born as Mr. Different. Difference is a part of nature. One philosopher has rightly observed that nature abhors uniformity. Nature abhors uniformity. There is no uniformity in nature. Everywhere there are differences in nature, in material world, in animal world, and also in human world. So everyone is Mr. Different and Miss Different. Then everyone enjoys freedom, and this freedom is his birthright. You cannot abolish others' freedom. So everyone wants to follow his own wishes, his own interest. It is this fact, this natural fact that creates problems. So everyone, for me, every other man is a problem man. For you, every man and woman are problem men and women. So you are compelled to live in problem peoples. Otherwise, you have to leave this world and settle in some island. But that cannot be that you cannot afford. It is not possible again. Then what to do? Then what is the solution? According to the reason, as well as according to the Islamic teachings, there is only one formula, and that is realistic approach. That is practical approach. It means that in your own private life, live according to your own ideals. But when comes to society, you have to be practical. I will give a very well-known example. You know, the Prophet of Islam used to pray some nafils in his home. So when he was praying his nafil, that was his private namaz, he used to read long surah, long chapters like Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, An-Nisa. This was his prayers pattern when he was observing nafil namaz. But when he was in mosque and he was leading congregational prayer, he used to read very small chapters like Al-Asr, Al-Kawthar. Why? In his private namaz, he was alone. He was able to follow his own ideals. But when he was leading a congregational prayer in masjid, then, there were other people, male and female, children and old people, maybe some patients, different kind of people. So he always read small chapters from the Quran. This was a combination between ideal and practical. When he was alone and praying his private namaz, he was ideal. He was able to follow his ideals. But in congregational prayer, it was not possible. So he became practical. In mosque, he was practical. At home, he was ideal. This is a combination of two different aspects. And it is this which I call realistic approach. This approach is not duality. You cannot say that it is duality, it is double standard. No, not at all. It is realistic approach. It is realistic approach. So I would like to say, I've sent a letter to that Muslim youth that you can follow your ideals in your private life, but when comes the masjid and madrasa, you have to be practical. Don't criticize. Then I mentioned that if you go to the deep, if you study the whole matters, then you will find then in masjid and madrasa both there are enormous opportunities for you. In masjid and madrasa, there are enormous opportunities for you. But at the same time, there are some problems also. So the best formula for you is ignore the problems and avail the opportunities. This is the best formula. Ignore the problems and avail the opportunities. So you have to adjust with those ulama who are running these masjid, who are running these madrasas. So if you follow this formula, you will find that you are wanted person for them, because you are an intelligent, you are a learned person, and they want you. You are their need. They want a person like you, who are intelligent, who knows Arabic, who knows English, who is also energetic. So they want a person like you. But your unpractical criticism, due to their criticism, you became unwanted for them. This is the most important aspect of life, which all people are unaware. Then I would like to say that this formula is not based on cowardice, not passivity. It is based on the law of nature. Law of nature. It is based completely on the law of nature. And you know, when comes the nature, you have no option other than to follow it. If you fail to follow the law of nature, then you will pay a heavy price. That is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Why I say like this? Because if you want to live according to your own ideals in society, you cannot apply this formula at your home, where there are your children, there is your wife, there are your parents. So all these people who talk of idealism, they become practical when they are in their home, because it's not possible to apply this formula in your home. Your father is Mr. Different, your mother is Miss Different, your wife is Miss Different, your children is also Mr. Different and Miss Different. So you cannot afford, it is beyond your capacity to change their mind, to change their habits. It's not possible. It is beyond your capacity. Here the problem is against the nature. How you can change the natural course? So due to your self-interest, you become realistic when you are in your home. When you are in society, when you are in an institutions, where you are in masjid and madrasa, you become critical. This is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. But when you are living, when you come back in your home, you become practical, because otherwise you will break your home. This is the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa sallallahu ala nabiyyil kareem. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. The title for the present talk is social ethics. That is how to manage the social affairs, social problems. So it is social ethics. Yesterday, I received an email from South Africa. It was from a Muslim youth. He says that I was educated in a madrasa, Arabic madrasa. Then I learned English, and now I know both the languages, Arabic and English. Also, I have studied a lot, but I am not successful in my life. Although I am married, I have 2 children, but I don't feel that I am successful in life. I feel myself a person that failed in life. Then he states some of his problem. He says in his email that after studying, I felt that our masjid and madrasa is not going on right path. Our clergy, our Muslim ulama, these masjid and these madrasas are under control of ulama, that is Muslim scholars or clergy. But they are running these institutions in a bad manner, according to this gentleman. So I criticized, and then they became angry. I became unwanted in madrasa and masjid both. I am not allowed to deliver khutbah in masjid. Also, I am not allowed to have a job in madrasa. So I am very perturbed. Now I want to seek your guidance, what to do. I have sent a letter to this gentleman. I said that the problem lies in you and not in the ulama. Why? Because this gentleman, according to my assessment, is an idealist person. His studies, after his studies, he became ideal. Now he wants to translate those ideals in practical life, in social life, in institutions. But it is not possible. Simply, it is not possible. As an individual, you can live according to your own ideals. But as far as the society is concerned, the social institutions are concerned, you cannot apply your ideals on these institutions or in your society. You have to be realist. In your mind, it is good to be idealist in your mind. It is good to be an idealist in your mind. But as far as the practical life is concerned, you cannot afford to live according to your own ideals. You have to be practical. You have to be pragmatic. You have to adjust with others. This formula is not cowardice. It is formula based on reason. Also, it is based on Islamic teachings. The Prophet of Islam was an ideal person. It is well known. But at the same time, he was a practical person. There is a well-known saying that politics is the art of the possible. Politics is the art of the possible. I would like to say that this formula is not only for politics. In general sense, it is for whole life. So I would like to say that life is the art of the possible. Not only politics, but whole life. Because when you are born in this world, you are born in a society, in a family, in a nation. You cannot afford to live in an isolation, in some island. It is not possible for you. Man is a social animal. Man needs a society. Man needs social institutions. Man needs other peoples to complete his plans. A story of all the peoples. They try to implement their ideals in the society, but when they are in their home, they follow the principle of pragmatism. They become pragmatic. So I would like to say that the only possible formula for life is that ignore the problem, avail the opportunities. Because problems are part of nature. Problems are not part of some conspirators. Problems are not part of some enemy. Problems are part of nature. So you have to adjust with these problems. You cannot eliminate these problems. The best formula is ignore the problems and avail the opportunities. This formula is not only for your home, for institutions, but although for nations, for national life and also international life. Everywhere you have no option other than to follow this formula. Then this formula was described in the Quran in several ways. Like, Quran always teaches sabr. Sabr literally means patience. But why patience? Sabr means that you have to be realistic. You cannot change the world. So you have to adjust with the world. Otherwise, you cannot do anything. Sabr means, Quran is a great advocate of sabr. But what is sabr? Literally, sabr means patience. Sabr means that you have to live, as far as your personal life is concerned, you have to live according to your creed, according to your belief. You cannot compromise in your belief. It is not possible for a moment. A true woman is one who is not ready to compromise in his belief, in his creed. So, as far as the belief or creed is concerned, there is no question of compromise or adjustment. No. This formula is applicable in practical life, in social life. So, sabr means be patient in social affairs, not in belief. Sabr means be patient in social affairs, not in your belief system. In belief system, you have to be ideal. In belief system, you have to be an ideal. No compromise at all. You cannot say that God is one, also God is two, or is three. It is not permissible. You cannot afford this kind of creed, this kind of belief. You are not allowed to say that God is one, at the same time God is two, at the same time God is three. This kind of adjustment is haram in Islam. So, sabr, the formula of sabr is applicable in social affairs and not in belief system. As far as the belief system is concerned, you are required to be ideal. But when you are in a family, when you are in your neighborhood, when you are society, when you are in your national affairs, so you have to be practical. This is the true meaning of sabr. So Prophet of Islam always adopted this formula in every affairs, in every matters. Not only in congregational prayer, but in all other affairs. I think that he was great status quoist. He was great practical. So Prophet of Islam, according to this teaching and according to this seerah, I would like to say that it is a fact that there is something wrong or something right. In theory, something are wrong, something are right. In theory, right or wrong is a fact. It is a fact that there are something that are wrong and something that are right. But you cannot follow this kind of belief in practical affairs. In your mind, you can say that this is right, this is wrong, in your mind, as a theory. In theoretical sense, In theoretical sense, you can say that this is right and this is wrong. But when comes the practical, when you are in practical life, you cannot afford to follow this kind of formula. You have to compromise, you have to adjust. For example, Prophet of Islam was appointed as a prophet in 610 AD. Then he lived up to 13 years in Mecca. 13 years after prophethood. He lived up to 13 years in Mecca. So at that time, Kaaba was full of idols. There were 360 idols placed in Kaaba. But he never touched. He never tried to destroy all those idols. Up to 13 years, he was a great believer of Tawheed. Up to 13 years in Mecca, Prophet was a great believer of oneness of God. As far as his belief was concerned, his belief was that idol worship is haram. So he was a great believer of Tawheed, but he never tried to destroy all those idols. Why? Due to practical reason. In theory, he was a muwahhid. In theory, he was a great believer of oneness of God. But in practice, he adopted the realistic approach, the practical approach, because at that time it was not possible for him to destroy all those idols. At that time, Makkah was occupied by mushrik leaders. At that time, Makkah was occupied by mushrik leaders like Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab, etc. They were very, very powerful. So at the time it was not possible to destroy all those idols. So in theory, Prophet became a great believer of Tawheed. But in practice, he avoided to destroy all those idols. Until the Fatih Makkah, he waited. And as far as the problem of idol is concerned, he adopted the policy, wait and see. As far as the theoretical aspect is concerned, he adopted the policy of idealism. But as far as the practical matters are concerned, he adopted the policy, wait and see. This is sabr. Sabr is only the other name of sabr is only a Quranic name of the policy of wait and see. If you read those books that were compiled on Shamail or Sunnah, there are so many books in which the author try to tell you what are the Sunnah of the Prophet, what were the Sunnah of the Prophet. But if you read these kind of books, you will find that there are very trivial kind of Sunnah, like khidab in beard, like surma in eyes, like and another thing like this. But these authors fail to mention those great sunnahs. One of that kind of sunnah is 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 status quoism. That is, as far as the theory is concerned, you are required to be an ideal. But as far as the practical aspect is concerned, you have to adjust with others. Otherwise, you cannot do anything. You cannot do dawah work. You cannot pray. You cannot do anything because you are living in a society, not in an isolation. So this formula was followed by the Prophet of Islam in every affair throughout his life until his death. Until his death. You know what happened with Kaaba? Kaaba was built by Prophet Ibrahim before 4,000 years. 4,000 years ago, when Prophet Ibrahim built Kaaba, then sometime it was demolished due to some reason. Then mushrik people, at that time, mushrik people were the custodian of Kaaba. So they rebuilt it. But when they rebuilt the Kaaba, they reduced its area. They reduced its area. And now the present Kaaba was built by mushrik people. It is not at the base of Prophet Abraham. Prophet was aware of this fact that the present building of Kaaba was built by the mushrik people. The Kaaba built by Ibrahim was not square, but now it is square. But he avoided to rebuild Kaaba. Why? It was bound to create new controversies. It was bound to create new controversies. So, simply for this reason, to avoid all those controversies, he left Kaaba at that base. He never tried to rebuild Kaaba on the base of Hazrat Ibrahim. And now the present Kaaba, which we know, is not on that basis. On that base, that was at the time of Prophet Ibrahim. It is on the base of mushrik people, because Kaaba built by Ibrahim was not square, and now it is square. So this is, by this example you can understand what was the policy of the Prophet of Islam. In theory, he was ideal, but in social affairs, he was practical. In other words, he was status quoist. In social affairs, he was a status quoist. So now everyone speaks of Muslims' defeat and Muslims' problems and all that. But according to my analysis, my experience, The basic reason is that present Muslim leaders fail to adopt this policy. Everywhere they are engaged in fighting against so-called problems. They don't know this fact that the Prophet of Islam always tried to avoid problems so that he may be able to avail those opportunities at that time. But now, present Muslim leaders don't know this formula, this prophetic formula. Everywhere in the world, they discover some problems, some conspiracies, and try to fight. Everywhere Muslim leaders are engaged to eliminate all those problems. It is not possible. So they fail to achieve anything. After long effort, after great sacrifices, they fail to achieve anything because their target was problem and not opportunities. Prophet's target was opportunities and not problem. But present Muslim leaders have changed the course. They always target problems and they leave opportunities. So I think that this is the only important thing that are missing in the present leadership. Now I would like to say that our leaders must revise their policy. Now the time is of reassessment. We have to revise, we have to reassess. Then when we find that we were wrong, so we have to say clearly that we were wrong. We have to acknowledge, we have to declare that we were wrong. All the Muslim leaders are engaged to blame others. Their policy is blame others. It is against the law of nature. The best policy is blame thyself. So the need of the hour is introspection. The need of the hour is introspection. To find our own fault, our own mistakes. So according to my experience, according to my study, the best formula for life, for individuals, for community, for nation, for institutions is ignore the problems and avail the opportunities. It is a law of nature. You know, if you see a rose plant, you will find that every rose plant has a beautiful flowers. But at the same time, there are thorns. So at every branch there are flowers, at the same time there are thorns. But this is law of nature. It is not due to any conspiracy. So what to do in such situation? We have to avoid thorn and we have to take flowers. This is the only option for us. If you try to eliminate all those thoughts, you will fail, you will fail, you will fail. It's not possible to you, it's not possible for you to change the course of nature. It's not possible for you. You cannot change the course of nature. You cannot change the law of God. You cannot change the divine law. You have no power. No, you have no such power. So the best formula is avoid the thorn and take the flowers. The same formula is applicable in social affairs, in national affairs. But present Muslim leaders have deviated from this formula. Present Muslim leaders throughout the world have deviated from this formula. Everywhere they are fighting. Some leaders are fighting by gun and bomb, and others are fighting by words. So some leaders are engaged in the war of words, and some are engaged in war of arms. All the leaders are doing like this. There is no difference except this one, that some are engaged in the war of words, and some are engaged in the war of arms. We must abandon this policy. We must say that we were wrong. We have to acknowledge our mistakes. Otherwise, we cannot achieve anything in this world. The only way to achieve our required target is to follow this formula, the realistic formula. And this is not my formula. It is formula of nature. And this formula was adopted by the Prophet of Islam. So it is Islamic formula. It's completely Islamic formula. So I would like to say that simply knowing that this is right, this is wrong is not enough. If you know that this is right, this is wrong, this is not enough. You have to know the practical aspect of the situation. Sometimes you have to compromise with that is wrong in your according to your thought, because it's not possible to remove that mistakes. Just like the Prophet of Islam. Prophet of Islam avoided all those idols because at the time he was not in a position to destroy all those idols, although it was super haram. You know, Kaaba was built by Prophet Abraham as a house of Tawheed, Baitullah, house of God. Kaaba was built by the Prophet Ibrahim as a Baitullah, that is, house of God, house of Tawheed. But after centuries, Mushrik people occupied Makkah and they placed so many idols, several hundreds of idols in Kaaba. And at the advent of the Islam, this was the situation. So the Prophet of Islam was born in Mecca in 610, and at that time this was the situation. At that time, Mecca, not only Mecca, but whole Arabia was under the occupation of Muslim Mushrik leaders. So it was not possible for Prophet or his companions at that time. So in this matter, he had adopted the policy, wait and see. That is sabr. So we have no option other than to adopt this policy in our present age. There are so many articles, so many books, why Muslims became backward, why Muslims are suffering. But all these books are rubbish, because they always try to complain others. They always try to find out some enemy, some conspirators. All those books, perhaps without any exception, all the authors of these books try to find out some Jew, some Hindu, some American, some European, who are responsible for our backwardness. This is absurd. The reason is that Muslim leaders failed to adopt the natural formula. Natural formula. They followed their emotions, their sentiments. For example, every time when someone publishes a book which, according to these Muslim leaders, is against the Islamic sentiments, against the Muslim sentiments, they become furious. They say it is against Islam. They try to burn all those books. They try to kill that authors. But it is stupid. All these are futile. Completely futile. Why? Because in this world everyone is free. God created man as a free person. So every man and woman are free. You cannot abolish their freedom. So they are free to publish such books. You also have freedom to publish some other books. But it's not possible to kill all those authors. It is not possible. It is beyond your capacity. It is beyond your capacity. So we have to know that where we missed the train, where we missed the bus. We have to know where we missed the bus. And that is, we fail to follow the realistic approach. We fail to follow the natural path. We became sentimental. Muslims are engaged in their emotions. It is not enough. All the Muslims speak in emotions. This is our sentiment, this is our emotion. This kind of language will not work. You have to provide some reason, you have to provide some logic. Otherwise, no one is going to hear your speeches. No one is going to read your books. No one is going to read your statements. If your sentiment was hurt, that's your own problem. If your sentiment was hurt, this is your own problem. No one bother about your sentiments. The only thing required is to provide some reason, some logic, some argument. So, if there are some books against Islamic belief, you have to publish some other books to counter his theme. You have to present some other ideology to counter his ideology. So this is the only option for us in this world. And this was the policy of the Prophet of Islam. This is the rational stand, this is the logical stand, this is the practical stand, and at the same time, this is the Islamic stand. At the same time, it is the Sunnah of the Prophet of Islam. Sunnah means example. Quran says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. In the Prophet, there is a good example for you. In the Prophet, there is a good example for you. So in every matter, Prophet provides a good example. In every matter. So this is also a sunnah of the Prophet of Islam. It's also a good example given by the Prophet of Islam, that you have to differentiate between possible and impossible. It's also a sunnah of the Prophet of Islam, that you have to differentiate between what is possible and what is impossible. What is achievable and what is not achievable. This is also a sunnah of the Prophet of Islam. This is also a good example. So here we miss the bus, but that we followed our emotions, but we failed to follow the practical realities. This is according to my study, this is my experience, and I firmly believe that there is no other option for Muslims. You know, all those so-called jihad organized by Muslims became failure. Nothing was yielded by these jihads. We are fighting from no less than 200 years. Very strange. We are fighting from no less than 200 years. But all in vain, all in vain, all in vain. Nothing was achieved by these mujahids except disaster, except losses in terms of money, in terms of life, in terms of prestige. So I would like to say that at present we need jihad dawat, not jihad saif. In our present situation, we need jihad but jihad dawat and not jihad saif. That is dawah work and not jihad work. In our present situation, there are enormous opportunities. Enormous opportunities. There are modern communications. There are religious freedom. There are so many favorable things for us. But we can avail all these opportunities only through dawah, peaceful dawah work, not through armed struggle, through fighting. No, not at all. So we have to bring about change in our policy. We have to admit that we were wrong. In short, I can say that in our present time, there are abundant opportunities in every field. But the only condition is required to be peaceful, to abandon all those fightings, all those violence, and adopt the peaceful dawah work. Peaceful dawah work, peaceful Islamic activism is the only answer. In the present situation. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم أجمعين.